gotta be wise about how you go about things. I'm an extremely passionate person. Here's the reality behind things. Nobody cares what you have to say if you don't have a platform. You can speak good, have good language, but if you're not making real money and you don't have a platform, nobody cares.
Sold out service, and you know we've been working. We serving, we earning. The watches, it's hurting. Big heart, but it started with Chris. Seen a lot when it comes to this biz. Don't serve, don't earn. They gotta shift keys to be a capitalist.
How you guys doing? Today we're here live in Columbia, Maryland, here with a couple hundred entrepreneurs here. Guys, maybe get a shout out. Say hi, guys. Say hi to the audience. Say hi. What's going on? And we have the pleasure this evening to interview somebody that I would call a close friend of mine. And he'll come to the stage today in a moment here. And he's somebody who has built a successful agency across the entire country in insurance. He has a background in the oil field. He has a background before that he'll speak a little bit on today. And also the co-host of Valuetainment en Español. Guys, give it up to Ricky Aguilar. Ricky, how you doing, man? So how was the flight from Bakersfield, California to Maryland?
It was good. I love it. It's always a pleasure flying into the East Coast. It's beautiful. I love the East Coast. I mean, the views are beautiful. It's different. It's green, really, really green. I love it. It's a pleasure to be here. I love being here with all you guys. I love you guys' energy. Everybody's energy is good. Everybody's focused. People, I guess we have what did Tigran say? 10 or 15 different states. People here from different countries, different backgrounds, different religions, different everything. It's just a beautiful environment to be in, especially in today's climate right now where, you know, the government's trying to divide everybody. The fact that we're so united, we're going against that system. I love it.
Absolutely. We were in the car and I picked him up and he was playing a song on his phone. It was Biggie. I said, "Why you playing Biggie, man? Because you're on the East Coast." He was like, "Yeah, I'm on the East Coast. I gotta play some Biggie." Love it, man. From a West Coast guy, right? Gotta love it, man. So Ricky, man, we're gonna dive into some questions, man, and dig deep into your background, your mindset, who you are as a man, what the platform was for you to become so successful in business today. But give us just a brief, maybe background on who you are. We'll go deeper through the questions, but just who is Ricky Aguilar, man? Where are you from? Who's your family?
So originally we're from Michoacán, Mexico, which is it's kind of a center south state of Mexico. It's a beautiful state, but it's also war torn because of the cartels and the drug violence going on down there. Mexico is a modern day Colombia, like literally, and it probably a lot more violent than Colombia was at that because there's so many different groups trying to take each other out. Colombia, you know, Pablo kind of had a stronghold over Colombia and what he said win, but in this case, there's a lot of different groups in different states fighting. So we left Michoacán, came to California. Unlike our Salvadorian, Ecuadorian, and Honduran brothers, they come way to the East Coast. We stopped in California. We're like, we're good right here. 4 hours past the border. We're like, yeah, this is good. We're going to stop right here, you know. Desert walk was long enough. We're going to stop right here. So we ended up in Bakersfield, California, which is a hometown of Korn, the band. You guys know Korn, the band Korn? Really? Yeah, Korn's from Bakersfield. Buck Owens. This is like all my white people stuff right here right now. Like, Korn is from Bakersfield. Buck Owens is from Bakersfield. Joey Porter from the Steelers. He went to my high school. He was one of the best. To me, apart from Ray Lewis, one of the best linebackers in NFL history. But yeah, so we did that. Kind of interesting background, which you get into with my family right now, the dynamics behind it. Kind of parents got divorced when I was a kid. Mom decided to become independent. I guess she was listening to Beyonce at the time, and she says, "I'm going to do this on my own." And grew up in the hood because our income wasn't that too high. Got involved in the hood when I was 13, 14 years old. Went to high school in the worst part of town. Dropped out my junior year. Started doing a bunch of things I was not supposed to. Ended up in the oil fields. I worked in the oil fields for 8 years. I was a supervisor for companies like Chevron and Shell. I got introduced to PHP, and here we are. Well, I'm sure we're gonna get deeper into that, but here we are. We're 5.5 years in with PHP, and very blessed and honored to be here with you guys as my brothers and sisters in business and in faith, and as God has put us as brothers and sisters. Period. Regardless of what our upbringings, backgrounds, and religions may be, we all have, in my eyes, I think we all have the same goal, which is to protect our family, take care of our family, and leave a legacy. And at the end of the day, no matter what your skin color is, religion is, background is, sexual orientation, or political affiliation, we all want the same thing. We just have a different way of getting there. But here, combined, using each other's talents, we're going to be able to get there. And I'm excited for that. And I'm excited for you guys.
Absolutely. Ricky, many of the viewers on the Southern Channel, and just in general, man, in business in general, many new entrepreneurs transitioning to entrepreneurship have a hard time taking on the workload of maybe you're at a full-time job, maybe you're a single dad, maybe you're a full-time student, you're working nights, and you're trying to transition into entrepreneurship. And one thing I've seen, man, and just watching you as a peer in the last seven years or so, your conviction in your work ethic, man. And people will ask me, hey, Chris, man, why do you work so hard? How do you find conviction in work ethic? And I think for a lot of people, the struggle is how do you transition from being a 9-to-5er every single day in your life and then going from there to saying, hey, I want to do something special in life and great, but where do you find your conviction in your work ethic?
So I think what happens is that, by the way, I want you guys to know, like, if you went to school and got your degree, that's very noble. You were doing what you thought was right. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with it because we would have doctors, lawyers, and surgeons if it wasn't for school. I'm very grateful for people that went to college because they are able to have skill sets that allowed some of us, we have our life saved because of a doctor. If they didn't go to school, how can they save our life, right? So I'm very grateful whatever path it is that you took or whatever path that you're taking. But I think what ends up happening is that we're so accustomed when we're working in corporate America that, like, if you don't feel like working one day and your boss is not on your ass, they don't know that you didn't work, but you're still going to get paid that hourly wage, right? That doesn't happen in entrepreneurship. You make your check. You don't get a check cut to you. So especially if you don't have a boss watching you, you can get away with 2 or 3 days of really not doing anything and be like, I'm still going to get paid the same amount at the end of the week. Not in entrepreneurship. Because if you don't work, you don't get paid. So the transition, really the hard part that I noticed that people have from corporate America to entrepreneurship is the responsibility and the discipline. Because if you're not disciplined, you're not going to make it in entrepreneurship. It's not even forget about determination. If you're just not disciplined, period. Because every minute, every second, every hour you put in, that's how you're going to get paid. You don't got to do the same thing in corporate America. You could go a week, 2 weeks without doing it. You could get a pay if you're pregnant and you go on, what is that called? Paternity leave, unemployment. I'm stressed out. You could pull all these bullshit strings with corporate America and still get paid. You can't do that in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship won't let you bullshit your way to it, right? You can't bullshit your way to success, but you could bullshit your way through corporate America. So I think the transitions, people don't realize how much discipline it's gonna take, and they have a hard time doing that transition because of that. That's my opinion. As far as my determination, I mean, and I'm gonna, I don't mean to offend anybody, and if I do, that's okay. I really don't care. But I made a decision in 2016, June of 2016. The only man outside of God that's gonna tell my wife what to do is gonna be me, right? I don't need another man telling me what to do. What time I could go to, I got to get up. What time I got to go in. What time I got to use the restroom. What time I can't use the restroom. Can I use the restroom, sir? I'm not doing that, right? Plantations are done, but people still choose to live in them, right? And I tell my wife, and I want to go to lunch. I can't take her lunch because another man said she can't leave her office. I'm not doing that. So my conviction comes from I want 100% control over my family. And I don't mean controlling like in a controlling way or a machista way. I mean in like I want to be able to, I want to give my family their freedom. Right? And my mom, me and my wife, we retired my mom, my dad, and her parents. Because I don't want anybody having to tell my family what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and if they can use a restroom or not. So my conviction and my determination comes from giving my family their freedom.
Man, I love it, man. You said something pretty key, man. You said no stress leave. There is no stress leave in entrepreneurship. We all know somebody at a job that got stressed out, took 6 months off, still got a check. That's so crazy, man. Ricky, talk about the power of building the right team around you when it comes to business and life. And when I say right team, I mean employees. I mean staff, mentors, sideline business partners. How's that been so important to you and your success in business?
So there's a couple of examples I like to use when I talk about this. This is a great question. For example, if you guys remember, some of us were remember because we're from that age, the Michael Jordan era. Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen with them, but they didn't have a good rebounder, right? They needed a good rebounder. And their best rebounder in the time was with their rival, was their enemy, which was, you guys remember who it was? Who was it? Dennis Rodman. He was with the Pistons. So Michael Jordan's vision was so big that he said, we need to recruit the enemy. Because you guys remember, Dennis Rodman would punk Scottie Pippen in the games. He would beat him up. But Michael Jordan told Phil Jackson, we need a rebounder. We need somebody that's good. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 3 examples. I'm going to break this into 3 sections. So Michael Jordan's vision was so big that he said, hey, we need him. Okay? So they bring Dennis Rodman. Look how many championships they won. They were unstoppable because he was Dennis Rodman was the number one rebounder in the NBA at the time. He was willing to drop his ego and invite the enemy in to work with him, and then made him an ally, and then built an incredible team around them and had a good coach. That was Michael Jordan. We go to Kobe Bryant. In Kobe Bryant's early years, when Phil Jackson was his coach with the Lakers, he told the Buss family, it's either Phil Jackson or me. Kobe Bryant was so arrogant, thinking the world revolved around him so much, that he made the Buss family, the owners of the Lakers, choose between Phil Jackson and him. So guess who got fired? Phil Jackson. Years later, Kobe Bryant finally says, holy crap, I need a good coach. Guess who got rehired? Phil Jackson, because he was the best in the NBA. Brought him back, they start winning championships. That's the second example. One, dropping your ego because the vision is big, is Michael Jordan. Second, the late Kobe Bryant, at the time, not in his older years, in his younger years, because when you're a young entrepreneur, you think you're arrogant, you think you know it all, okay? And you think that you know your schedule and you're a boss. The arrogance will make you believe that you don't need anybody. Or you don't need to be told, I didn't become an entrepreneur to be told what to do, right? You cop that stupid ass attitude. So then what ends up happening is that you end up losing, and then you wonder why. Until you finally allow the coach to come and tell you what you're doing wrong. Then we have the last one, which to me is one of my favorite wide receivers outside of his attitude. I'm going to give you guys a hint. He played for the San Francisco 49ers, and he played for the Raiders, but nobody wanted to play with him. Nope. Terrell Owens. He is one of the most wasted talents the NFL has ever had. He was one of the best wide receivers the NFL has ever had, but nobody wanted to work with him because he had a bad attitude. And he went training camp. I remember one time they're interviewing him, and he's going broke, and he's training all year, and he's literally one of the best. But all the coaches already knew, when you work with this guy, he's super uncoachable, he's not a team player, and he doesn't want to work with them. He wants to do what he wants to do. Well, nobody picked him up. Where's Terrell Owens right now? Only God knows, because we don't. Does it make sense? So you have three different examples. Obviously, in Kobe, it's the younger years, but you have three different examples of how you could go about your business. You could drop your ego, have a good coach tell you how to do things, and invite people that have better talents than you to come and help you. You can be arrogant and not listen to your coach and lose. And then you could be very super talented and just be an asshole, and you're not going to get anywhere. I think Michael Jordan is the best example of leadership that we've had when it comes down to sports, in my opinion. And it's something you guys can learn from. We could all learn from.
It's so funny you say that, man. Not to get sidetracked. I was talking to some people the other day, man, and we were having a talk about just sports in general, right? This is on the topic of entrepreneurship, and I said back in the day, man, I would watch sports, and I knew I'm a Broncos fan, right? I was a fanatical Broncos fan, not anymore. But back in the day, I was a fan. I would watch practice, man. I knew the depth chart, every player's name, their stats. And someone challenged you once to say, Chris, you sit down on a Sunday afternoon and watch Peyton Manning for 3.5 hours, write his legacy for his family. What about your family? Yeah. And it hit me. I'm like, man, I can sit here and watch sports games all day. Your family too has a big football fan, right? Has like a Raiders fan. You say,
we don't win games, but we don't lose fights.
And so it's so important, man, to know, keep your priorities in check, man. What's important, your legacy or someone else's, man. Crazy. Ricky, you're a passionate guy, man. At the least bit, at least you're a little passionate, right? And I've seen you in exchanges, man, with people in business in the last couple of years. But one thing about your passion, I want to know, man. And one of the brokers asked this question: what's your process of gaining control over your strong emotions? Like, how do you manage your strong emotions in your favor? Because some people have these emotions and they go crazy, man. They unravel and they can be damaging to your personal life and your business life.
So you got to be wise about how you go about things. I'm an extremely passionate person, but here's the reality behind things. Nobody cares what you have to say if you don't have a platform. Nobody cares. Like, you can speak good, have good language, good, articulate things good. But if you're not making real money and you don't have a platform, nobody cares. And the more you become obsessed with yourself about how you want to go, because a lot of people want to defend their pride, you can't grow that way. So the way I do with my emotions is, if something really pisses me off, I said, okay, but if I talk about it right now, nobody cares. I'm going to create a platform where when I talk, people are going to care because I have enough influence. The problem is people want to talk without having influence. And then the only way to validate, Okay, and I'm gonna tell you three things, and you could disagree. That's okay. What is freaking Trump? One day he says they were booing him. He says that's why you're down there and I'm up here, right? He said that. They were booing him, right? It's the truth though. He wasn't lying, right? Whether you like the guy or not, he wasn't lying. He says, I have a very firm belief from dealing guys at this point. Like I travel with Pat a lot. I've met a lot of people that I can't post on social media. CIA, heads of CIAs, FBI, DEA. We met the CEO of, I can't remember what CEO. There's a lot of people that we've been able to meet with Pat that I won't put out there because Pat trusts me around them. And so I'm very blessed to be able to do that with Pat. Pat's introduced me to a whole different world, a whole different view of things, and I'm very grateful for him. But I will tell you the way you view your family, the way you view God, and the way you view politics is how your life will be determined. Because if you don't view your family as somebody that needs to be saved from corporate America, then you're not going to fight for anybody. If you don't view your politics as people that can determine how your life or your country will go, then you're naive, right? You guys said, the second one, what did I tell you guys was? Because if you don't have God at the center of everything, you can't make wise decisions. You'll make decisions according to your desires. Does that make sense? So if you don't have a very clear understanding of these three things, you cannot make it. So what I'm getting at is that I noticed that, and this doesn't apply to everybody, but the most successful people that I've met that have made it in the right way are people that have a little bit more knowledge than everybody else in these three sections, right? So the reality is you can get mad and emotional about whatever you want. I'm pro this and I'm anti this and I'm pro this. Nobody cares because you don't have facts to back it up. And when you can think of things from a logical standpoint, you're able to grow because you can see it from an objective standpoint, not from whatever your emotions or your mommy or your daddy told you or whatever your favorite Don Lemon told you or what's this other guy from Fox? I don't know what the hell his name is. I don't even watch him. Does it make sense? If you can be persuaded to believe something because a media told you something or because you don't deserve to be a leader because you're easily persuaded. If you can't do your own homework, you don't deserve to be a leader. If you can't be convicted of something because God has a backing behind it, we're having this conversation. I'm not going to get into it, but I love babies. I don't want babies to be killed. The Bible says, "I knew you before you were in the womb." Enough said. And there is no pro-anti there anymore. There's no pro whatever. No, He knew you before you were in the womb. But if you're not in tune with God and you don't have a relationship with God, that doesn't mean anything to you because you're progressive. You think, oh no, that was the way He used to think. God doesn't change, but you wouldn't know that because you don't read the Bible. Does that make sense? So I can't change because God doesn't change. And God was convicted, I'm convicted. And you also have to understand that you will be crucified many times socially. If our Lord and Savior was crucified and He spoke the truth, what's going to happen to you? You speak the truth. And you got to be ready for that. And some people are not ready for that. So if you're not ready for that, you're not ready for success. You're not ready for leadership. And you shouldn't be leading anybody because you're going to lead them down the wrong path because you're too emotional and you don't know how to control your emotions.
Love it, Ricky. Love it, man. Love it, man. You guys feel the passion? 100% right. So Ricky, man, people are sitting here, they're watching you now, they're watching you online, they're watching you here in person today, and they're looking at this polished guy, man. They're seeing the Rolex watch, man, the Rolls Royce out front and all that good stuff, man. Tell us about the old Ricky, man. There's got to be an old Ricky, man. We were in Aruba, right? And you got your shorts on, you got your tats in your back, and you got the Raider tattoo on the calf. I'm from California, man. I know what a Raider tattoo means. Yeah. So tell us about the old Ricky, as much as you can. Man. I'm not sure, statute of limitation. I don't know. What can you tell us about the old Ricky?
So here's the reality behind things. I haven't changed at all. I just changed. The only thing that changed is how I go about things. But I haven't changed. So, and I've been very open about it. I don't care because at the end of the day, if God knows it, everybody can know it. That's the way I look at it, right? I don't come from a family like most people do. I was not raised in a very normal environment. I'm the only one in my family that was involved with hoods. I come from a ranchero family. We're horseback riders. I grew up in the ranch. The only reason that I joined the neighborhood and I'm completely blasted tattooed is because my mom happened to move in the hood. She didn't know it was a bad area. That's not how I grew up. I grew up with ranchers. I grew up with a family very powerful family in Mexico. And my uncles were my idols. I saw the big chains, the big necklaces, rings on every finger, right? Big trucks and big houses. And those were my idols to me. And you guys will see that I'll post them because they made me who I am. They made me to be fearless and go choose to be who you want to be. And I was raised with morals and values and principles. Love your women, respect God, love God, ironically. But take care of your family, protect what's yours, and don't let another man humiliate you. So growing that up in that environment, it really distorts the way you look at life, because in my eyes, the only way to become a millionaire, you got to remember, I was not raised in the social media era, right? When I was in high school, we had flip phones, we had razors, right? There, you wanted to go to MySpace, you have to go to your buddy's house with a laptop to be able to, or a desktop to be able to log in and upload pictures. I grew up in an era where I saw real hustlers, and the real hustlers were all drug dealers, and that's what my uncles and not like street corner drug dealers, like big drug dealers. To this day, plenty of songs about them and that culture. So when you're raised in an environment, that's what you aspire to be. I was showing Tigre, and Tigre knows me and him have a very good relationship. As I was flying to the VP meeting. One of my cousins was murdered. 24 years old. He was one of the leaders of a cell. They call them cells over there. I don't know what they call them cells for, but they call them cells. And I'm gonna share with you guys something real quick. So let me see. Let me turn it up real quick. This was his funeral. You know what that is? That's 100 sicarios shooting guns in his funeral. 100 sicarios. You guys know what sicarios are? Those are hitmen. Those are his guys. 24 years old. And 3 months before that, I was a trainers training you guys. And another baby cousin of mine had got murdered. It's crazy. Both events. I'm on my way to a PhD and I have to make a decision. What do? Do I go train you guys? Or do I go to a funeral? They made their choices. I made mine. I'm in the air. I'm getting a message. Funeral, boom. Because in Mexico, you die, they bury you the next day. There is no autopsies, right? They know why you died, especially where I'm from. And I'm flying, and I'm crying. My wife's like, babe, what's up? I'm just like, they killed Chepe, And she says, what do you want to do? I said, what do you mean? We're going to Dallas. That's what we're doing. We're going to go. We have an emergency meeting. And I was battling that. I had to have a conversation with Tigre, because even as a leader, I battle certain things. Like, am I making the right decision right now? Should I be where it's normal to feel that. But you got to make an ultimate decision. And so as a leader, you don't realize how much we go through as well, how much weight we take on. And we have to make those decisions. Twice I had responsibilities with PHP, and twice I missed my baby cousins. Those are my baby cousins. They're like my brothers. They're not. When you're Mexican, your cousins are your brothers, right? And you're black too. You know how I'm talking about, like African American, white people are like, that's my cousin. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all don't love each other the way we love each other. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing, right? But like with us, with minority, because we're all we have, right? So that, like, our cousins are our brothers. I have second cousins who are like my brothers, right? So we have to make those decisions. Man, I went way off topic, but the point is, that's my background. That's the world that I live in. That's the world that I grew up in, and I battle it to this day. Like, you don't think, like, my past life, you don't think I want to revenge? I want to avenge their deaths? They're already avenged within hours, but I wanted to be a part of that. I have to battle that as the leader here. And Ricky, TCO, I battle not wanting to go back over there and say, hey, who was it? Let's go. Like, I have to battle that. We all have our battles. We're not going to cry about it in front of you guys. We might do it in private, but we're going to come on. It's game time when we come to you guys.
Ricky, for people who are watching this in the audience, like, what made you get out of that life? Because we have options, right? We grew up in certain communities. I grew up in the hood. A lot of my best friends were gangbanging, Crips, Bloods, Power Rules, all that kind of stuff, man. What made you say, okay, cool, this is around me, cousins, nephews, uncles? What made you correct your path and say, okay, cool, I'm heading in a different direction?
It's profitable to tell people that they're victims. It's very profitable. It's extremely profitable. They gain your vote. Victims need heroes, right? Heroes don't need a hero. They need mentors, but they don't need a hero. Victims need heroes. This country, especially this country, has perfected the art of telling you that you're a victim of something you didn't experience so they could keep getting your vote, so they keep being in power. And what has changed for you? Tell me what's changed. Don't worry, I'll wait. Shit. You know why? Because I ain't going to change anything for you. What does that have to do with me? I'm not a victim to my family, surroundings, and environment. I'm my own man. I don't need another man to come solve my problems. God gave me. God didn't send another man, a politician, to save me. God gave me all the power in the world with his blessing in his hand to save me. And too many people have that, oh, this and that. That's why they have their views. Because you really think another man's going to come save you. They don't care about you. They don't. On either side. One more than the other, but on either side. One's really perfected the art of telling you that you're a victim of something you've never experienced or that you didn't do. Because they want to control you. Because victims need heroes. So you create the chaos, and then you're like, hey, the ones that selling the what is it saying? The ones selling the fear, selling selling the medicine, right? So they kick you. Oh, here's a tissue. Does it make sense? That's how they do things. Like, bah, oh, here's a tissue. I'm here to save you. That's what they do, right? And we keep falling for it, obviously. Not me, but. So, my realization came 2019. I'm sitting. You guys have ever heard of Julio Cesar Chavez? Yeah. Not the boxer, the one that fought for the rights of the farmers in California. He has a niece called Dolores Huerta. I'm sitting down with her, 2019, and she's still advocating for a bunch of bullshit that's not even real. Like, it's just bullshit. Like, it's bullshit, right? And I said, and I heard her talk, and I was talking to this guy yesterday at dinner, and I sit back. And I said, wow, I finally got it. And I said, thank you. And she was like, what? Because we were like kind of going at it, right? And she says, I said, thank you. And she says, for what? Like, she's confused. How do we go from fighting to, I said, I got it. You've built your career telling people they're victims so they keep voting for your dumbass. I got it. The more you victimize me, the more I'm going to give you my vote because you're my hero. I said, I got it. I understand. Thank you. That was when I had a realization. Some advocates are good advocates, but some are way on the other side and super hypocritical, right? I said, I got it. The only way for you to stay in power is for you to tell me that I'm a victim and you're my savior. Got it. That was when I broke away. I never really believed in that having a hero bullshit. I like my mentors. I just don't need a Superman to come save me. But that was a big realization for me when it comes to understanding how much power I have as a man and how much power you have as a woman. Right? Or whatever you identify as. I don't want to offend anybody, right? Thy, or whatever, this world we're living in. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with this. Shoot, welcome to America where you can do that. And you're not going to get thrown off a building like you would in another country, right? So don't complain about the country. Anyway.
Man, I love it, man. I love it, man. So, obviously, Ricky, from hearing you speak, man, hearing you pour your heart out, you definitely have a certain level of focus for you in life when it comes to faith, when it comes to country, and when it comes to your family. What impact has entrepreneurship had in your faith walk, in your faith life? Like, how has it changed your view on God and faith and what you've done?
You're all by yourself and everybody's rejecting you. Who else are you going to cry to? Yeah, that's all you got. God, I hope this policy goes through. I hope they say yes. I hope this recruit says yes. I hope they want to fill out the top 25. Am I lying? You know what I'm talking about. One thing I will tell you, and I'm gonna tell you guys, and I said this at dinner yesterday. I've said this many times. A man that has not found something to die for outside of their family isn't fit to live. What are you gonna live for? To pay the bills? Just die. Roll over. You're done. You have no purpose in life. People, I die for my family. Who doesn't, bro? Calm down. Ooh, you want a round of applause? We all will. Die for something that has nothing to do with your family. Die to a purpose. Die. Didn't Martin Luther King die because of a purpose? Didn't JFK die because of a purpose? Malcolm X? See, that's how I want to go. I want to go to a blaze of fire. You know what I mean? That's how I want to go out. I want to make such an impact and piss so many people off because they're trying to control you that they want to take me out. Does it make sense? That's what I want. Because I don't want to die in peace. I'm sorry, but I don't. I just don't. I really hope that I cause so much havoc and chaos to all these people that are profiting from telling you that you're a victim for something you never experienced or that you're guilty for something you didn't do because you were not around, that I want to wreak so much havoc in their life that they want to take me out. So That's entrepreneurship is a platform for that. Because when you make enough money and you have enough of a platform, what ends up happening? People have to listen to you. Joe Rogan, they can't take him out. Why? Why can't they take him out? Because he's too powerful now. Because God is always going to win, and evil doesn't always prevail. Good does. And I love your guys' name, sold out servants, right? I love it. Let me tell you guys why. Because that's a powerful name. Because you're serving something outside of yourself. Servants doesn't mean you're serving your wants and your desires. It means you're serving something outside of you. That's why I love your guy. I love it. Such a powerful. That's another reason we picked the chosen ones. TCO, the chosen ones. I didn't pick to be who I am. I was chosen to be who I am. And I'm going to embrace my calling. Does that make sense? Whatever that may be. As difficult as it may be and as confusing as it may be at times. But it's still my calling.
Ricky, with entrepreneurship, with being someone like yourself, man, who's driven, you're serving your community, serving others, comes some rewards, man. Some traveling, low money and low income, right? A little bit above minimum wage, somewhere around that, right? So, what would you say, Ricky, has been the biggest? What have you enjoyed the most about being an entrepreneur, outside of the service, outside of impacting others? Man, what has it done for you and your wife and your family?
There's a lot of aspects to it. I think that being able to look in the mirror and really being proud of who you are. And not just because your mommy told you they're proud of you or your daddy, right? And be like you being proud, like where nobody has to tell you, right? Like you're like, hey, good job, you know? Self-satisfaction, knowing that you're living out a purpose. Another one has been seeing my mom, like I was locked up when I was 20 years old. And I remember every time my mom would go visit me, she was in tears. And I would tell her, like, hey, dude, you need to stop crying because I put myself here. Like, one thing about me, I've never been a victim. Like, I know what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put myself here. Don't cry for me. I don't like when people don't feel pity for me. Feel anything you want, but don't feel pity for me because I know exactly what I did to put me in the situation that I'm in, right? Too many people do things because they want pity. They want to put on a show and shit because they want pity. I don't do that. No. I don't like people that do that, by the way. You know, so people like to make drama or complain a lot because they want attention, right? Someone should respect you when you were a kid because that shit doesn't fly. But anyway, that's beside the point. But as an entrepreneur, and the benefits of it is, when I'm on stage, the only person I'm looking for is my mom. That's it, because how much pain I caused. And by the way, you need to find something like that when you're on stage. Some of your moms are unfortunately not here anymore because whatever reasons. But there's got to be, like, do it for your kids, do it for your team. There's got to be something you're doing it for. Selfish people don't make it to the top. You just can't. So when I'm on stage, I pretend like nobody exists, and it's just my mom in the audience because that's what drives me. Doesn't mean it's going to drive you. I don't need it to drive you. You need to figure out what drives you. But that's the satisfaction. Taking her around the country, her seeing different parts of the world. Like we're from a ranch in Mexico. It's like that doesn't even have paved roads. And when her friend, like I love for her cousins hating on her ass. Like I love that shit. Like I'm just like that's right. You know they don't even like it. They don't even like her pictures. The hating ass ones, not her, the other ones. But that's right. One of my aunts, she just told me a story, by the way. She says, my aunt calls her. I bought her 2 Lexuses already. I bought her a car, and I just bought her the RX, whatever. And she says, one of her cousins calls her, and she says, oh, that was nice that Ricky left the down payment for your car. And she says, what do you mean? Yeah, so how much do you pay? She says, I don't know. Well, all he did was leave the down payment, right? And she says, no. He left the down payment and he pays for the car. So she was doing that on a hater mode. Does that make sense? I love that. Like, that's satisfying to me, right? My dad wanted he's a hustler. He doesn't need me, but my dad's like, he sent me a picture. My dad doesn't ask for anything. My parents, like, old school, they don't ask you for nothing. And my dad's like super hustler. He doesn't need anything. My dad does well on his own, but he was in Mexico. Oh, look, I like this car. And me and my dad share a lot of pictures. Now that I'm older, we have a better relationship. And I said, go buy it, I'll pay for it. And he says, no, I don't need you to pay for it. Like, I didn't tell you for that. Like, he even got mad, you know what I mean? I don't need your ass. I'm like, well, I don't need you either. You know what I mean? And I called him and I said, Pops, I'm serious. Go buy the car. I want to pay for it. Like, let me do that for you. And my dad's like super prideful. And he's a hustler. He's a go-getter. He doesn't need you to do that. I just wanted to do it. And I got mad at him. I said, Pops, like, I'm not playing with you, bro. Like, for real. Like, go buy the damn car. Let me do something for you. Those are that's what comes with entrepreneurship. We were able to give 114 laptops to kids in need during the pandemic, 500 shirts and 500 shoes to kids in need. We give out turkeys. One of my aunts is a missionary in Paraguay, so me and Alejandro fund her thing because the missionary, she doesn't ask us for money, but they come and work for 3 months and they leave for 9 months and be missionaries in Paraguay. It's a very poor country. She has no need to be there. She can live here and just do just fine. My uncle's a master electrician. He has no need of being over there. My aunt's a nurse. She doesn't have any need to be over there. But they serve God, and because of that, me and Alejandro are able to take care of her so she can live out her purpose. So entrepreneurship, outside of the money and the Rolls Royce and this and that, will allow you to help and benefit other people's lives. So that's the satisfaction that I get from it.
Love it, Ricky. Love it, Ricky. It's crazy. You ask someone a question, man, and they process the question through their lens. I think one of the biggest things that I'm saying here, observing and watching you, the question I asked you through your lens, man, you can't help but go back to serving. You can't go back to helping and really country, man. I can see country and purpose is really big for you, really big for you. Now, Ricky, outside of your mother and your father who have had a huge impact in your life, who has had the biggest impact in your life and why? Like a person who's in your life, because I noticed that people who ascend to the top usually don't do it void of a mentor. They need someone to lend a hand up to help them process and grow and identify different perspectives on life and a different lens. For you, who's been that person and what they've done for you?
So I have a couple. I don't just have one, but definitely to me, starting off in my career very early on was Gaitan. That's like he's like a father figure to me. My dad was not really my dad. My mom's always been more like my sister because she had me very young. And my dad's always been very business-minded, so my dad didn't teach me so much about like having a family. He taught me about business because that's the only way my dad knew how to do things, and that's what he inherited to me. So my dad never really had a father and son relationship. It was more of a mentor, business mentor, military. That was my dad raising me as a kid. So I didn't really have like we didn't throw balls and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like people play ball. Like, let's go throw the ball. Like, we don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's go play catch. Like, no. Bro, no. You're going to catch a belt. That's all you're going to catch. You didn't catch anything else. You know what I mean? Like, so I didn't have that father, like people that I could process things with. My dad's not one to process anything with. My dad's like, put your head down, get to work, stop complaining, and let's go. But what will happen is that will allow generational curses to continue because you never break the cycles. So not being able to process that with somebody is very difficult because you're like, well, who do I process it on? All my uncles are the same way, And so at the beginning, and it's still to this day, I mean, it hasn't changed. Gaitan was my first that very, very much impacted. And then needless to say now Patrick. Patrick gave me a whole different perspective on life. And that's what happens when you have a good mentor. You're so powerful, but sometimes you can't see your own power. You don't know how far that power can go. And you need somebody to tell you, you can go further and let me show you how to do it and then be genuine. And so I didn't realize how much of an impact I can make or how much of an impact I was going to have. And I didn't realize it. And obviously, we haven't even scratched the surface, obviously. But Pat right now plays a major role in who I am as a man, spiritually, as a husband. I was telling the guys at lunch or I think it was dinner, guys, the cats in my life, in my house get divorced. Okay, I come from a super divorce. Like, my grandparents got divorced before I was born. My parents got divorced when I was 6. The dogs got divorced right after them. Then the cats got divorced. Like, divorce reigns in my family, right? So when that happens to you, you think that's normal, right? Just like I thought that the lifestyle that my family kept was normal. I'm like, everybody's family doesn't do that, right? No, not everybody's family sells drugs. That's not normal to do that, right? I said, oh, shit, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, well, just like that, divorce is normal. And so when you normalize that, you can't treat God and your wife with respect. And I don't mean like disrespectful. You just don't know how to process issues because issues were never processed in your house. And now as a husband, I could 100% tell you at the beginning, Gaitan saved our marriage. Me and Erica would have been divorced within our first year. He saved our marriage. And then obviously we're mature now. Within the first year of working directly with Pat, he saved our marriage once as well. And so having them has allowed me to keep my family together because my solutions were like, well, screw it, let's roll. Like, sign the paperwork, let's go, let's get this done with because that's what I saw. So the biggest impact, I have to say at the beginning of my career, as far as who I am today, obviously my effects of who I was before was my family, but Gaitan and Patrick combined play the biggest roles in my life to this point.
That's big, man. It's big. Mentorship, you mentioned, again, your scope, your lens, man. Your mentors help you process issues around marriage and the foundation. And I believe that marriage is the foundation of our institution for our country, 100%. Man, and wrapping this up, man, I got to ask one question, man, because every time I ask you a question, Ricky, it goes to a political kind of scope or point of view, right, perspective. So I'm not going to ask you where you lean, even though it's pretty obvious where you lean. I got one question for you, man. What are your political aspirations, man? Where do you see Ricky, man, 5, 10, 15 years making an impact on this country from a political view? Because you're obviously passionate about it. You got the whole crowd, winning the crowd over here. You're winning votes as we speak right now. People are saying vote for Ricky. So where do you see yourself, man?
Until you realize may not see the life the way you do. Whew. Man, if there's one thing, I gotta go. I don't mean to make this a long-winded answer, but when I was in high school, I've always been big. Guys, I've been 6 foot since I was in second grade, okay? And, no, I'm 6 foot, 245 pounds, and I've worked out my entire life. Like, I'm kind of like chubby right now compared to I used to be very big. I bodybuilded for many years. Never competed, but bodybuilded for many years. And in high school, the Pokemon players, believe it or not, in the hood we had them, and the skaters loved me because I didn't let anybody bully them. I don't like bullies. I hate bullies. And so I remember we were in high school, like the jocks or whatever, or, the gangsters or whatever, they try to like punk the kids that were playing Pokemon. And yeah, I don't think in high school you should be playing Pokemon. I'm sorry, I don't, get over that shit. You know what I mean? Like, do something, but don't play Pokemon in school, in high school. But nonetheless, because I believe in individual rights, I believe that these kids should be able to do that. The skaters too, because they were kind of geeky. And I would protect them. As an adult, I don't like people being taken advantage of. And I truly believe that these politicians, especially on one side, both sides, but especially on one side, it's very obvious. If you can't do your history on yourself, then that's on you. You deserve the politics you vote for. But I think on one side in particular has very much bullied our people and has taken advantage of our people's trust. You guys got to remember, in Mexico, the sun and the moon were our gods. We were not Catholic by nature. We were taught Catholicism, to be Catholics and to be Christians. And I'm so grateful because I believe in God. I'm grateful, I'm not saying. But we're so naive and we think that just because we're taught that a certain color is the enemy so much that we truly, foolishly, ignorantly believe that somebody that has our skin color has our best interest at heart. Without you realizing that person can be bought, and they have been bought. So Malcolm X warned us in 1950 that certain activists were bought by a certain party. He warned us. He warned us. He says, they're going to show you tokens they're going to give them some recognition. They're going to this activist is good, and they're going to put them on the media, and yes, they stand for you, but they're betraying you. And it's crazy that you don't realize that because you say to love God, but you forget that one of his own disciples turned on him. And you really think somebody that has your skin color has your benefit in mind. But you've been convinced of that. And I said it, I told the guys earlier, I told you guys, I want to go down in a blaze of glory. I want to wreak so much havoc in the system that they want to take me out because I'm so tired of my people being bullied. In Mexico, there was a lot of hiding. Where I'm from in Mexico, they have an underground cemetery. You know what that underground cemetery has? It has children and teenage girls. In the 1930s, my town went through a time of 10 years where there was one pastor in particular and multiple after him where women were going missing, especially teenagers. And nobody understood why they were going missing. They thought that in Mexico it was very popular to rob them. Like if you liked her, like you go throw her ass on your horse and you're gone. And if you're Mexican in Mexico, that's very popular. It was popular, not anymore. And that's out. You're my wife. You could rob a woman. Like you could just oh, I like you. And then wait till she's alone away from her family and take her. And by the way, that's happened in a lot of countries. It's not like it's, right? But that was popular in Mexico. Our great-grandparents. My grandparents, not so much. My great-grandparents, that's what happened. And my great-grandma was robbed by my grandpa, and they fell in love. But it's because, obviously, when you lost your virginity in Mexico, there was no going back, right? You know, that's it. That was the end of it. So not the best way of going. I don't agree with it. But the point is this. There was an underground cemetery where they found teenage women. So they thought that the women were being taken by men. Turns out that the one that was doing it was a pastor raping the girls, killing them, and then the nuns were helping him do it. Well, in Mexico, that's being discovered a lot right now. Why? Because our people, especially minorities, are so freaking naive that you really think that people that you have your skin color are really for you. And you think, oh, they look like me. So did Genghis Khan, and he killed a bunch of them. Hitler looked like the Jews, and he killed 1 million of them. Like, what time are you going to wake up? When are you going to wake up, right? And you're taught that the one that's like trying to leave you alone is your enemy so that you can vote the other way. And nothing changes, and you wonder why. It's because you keep falling for the same bullshit. So, and by the way, it hasn't changed. To this day, in Mexico, the poorest people will give to the church. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what do you give them in return? Nothing. When they're starving, you don't get, there's no food drives. There's no giving to the poor. Nothing. They just want to take. And that's every religion. I'm just talking, you know. But what I'm getting at is that we're so naive that we truly want to believe that our people have our best interests at heart. And I'm going to pull the rug on that shit because they don't. We have this guy, Jorge Ramos, which I cannot stand. I can never do an interview with because I would hit him with the microphone. He goes and, like, his daughter Paola Ramos just posted a picture of the whole, you guys saw that with the Haitian immigrants with the horseback. They're whipping them. No, they weren't. I own horses. Those are not whips. They're reins. But if you don't own a horse, then you don't know that. And actually, the pictures never shows anybody whipping anybody. But this is America. If you don't like it, you could bounce, first of all. Second of all, how come you didn't do anything when Obama created the cages in 2014 and deported 3 million immigrants, more than any other president in America? Where were you and your This is America pictures then? Paola Ramos, that's our Anderson Cooper. That's our Jorge Ramos, our Anderson Cooper. His daughter is now involved in journalism, which is, to me, is activism, it's not journalism. And now she's posting her bullshit pictures. So she's trying to fool our people. Here's the beautiful part. If you go to the comment section, everybody's turning on her because we're waking up as people. She's like, hey, why are you lying for? Where were you when the cages? Where were you when the kids are being thrown? You know what I mean? Like, during the Obama administration, you don't have to like it. That's just the truth. You're not going to like it. I don't care. That's the truth. They're my people. How come there's no pictures then? How come it's only when it's one administration? And then you don't say, this is Trump's America. How come you don't say this is Biden's America? No, you want to say this is America. No, it's under the Biden administration, though. How come you don't want to blame the president now? Because that's activism, right? And you want to fool our people into believing that your political affiliation is right. So you want to make we're victims to the system, right? Victims need heroes. Victims need heroes. But when you're not a victim, you don't need a hero. All you can say is, I trust God. I am not I'm not made in an image of a politician. I'm made in the image of God. And he gives me my power and my identity, not another man. It's that simple. It's that simple. And I'm going to stop this bullshit.
I love it, guys. I love it, man. So let me translate what he just said. But Ricky is running for president 2036 and representing. Man, Ricky, man, appreciate it, man. I would say, man, if I'm sitting here and watching this interview, man, if I'm sitting here today live in person, one thing I can get from you, man, is passion. One thing I get is that what you're saying, man, you truly believe in your convictions as a man, and your faith, and in God, and your family, and your country. And one thing that anyone can learn from you, regardless of where you lie on the political spectrum, man, right, left, middle, center, right, whatever, is that, man, truth is truth, man. And whatever you believe in is what you believe in. If you're saying, man, I want to get to a point to where I'm someone who is pursuing entrepreneurship, I want to be someone that can make decisions. We all want freedom, man. And I truly believe, and I know you believe too, that entrepreneurship offers the best opportunity to be free. Like you said, you don't want some of the boss telling your wife she can't take a lunch break. That's a powerful statement, simple but powerful statement, guys. And I appreciate you, Ricky, for your time, man. And we'll see you soon, okay?
We'll see all the hate comments on there too.